this is D. I'm with the band Warning here on a rainy December day. Can I ask you to introduce yourselves?
Hello, my name's Nathan. I play guitar and sing in Warning.
I'm Will, and I'm the drummer.
I'm Sam. I play bass and do backing vocals.
Brilliant. Now, who came up with the name Warning?
It's probably me. Because when you're 14, you're a massive Green Day fan, aren't you? So that's probably where the name came from.
So, was it a name everyone agreed to, or
I think we're all pretty much indifferent, weren't we?
Well, he basically came up to us and said that the band's name's Warning.
So you were quite adamant on that, yeah?
Well, they didn't have any better ideas, you know what I mean? So, what can you do?
Now, how would you describe your music in a sentence?
Hate this question. Do you want to take this one, Sam? You look like you thought this one through.
I really haven't thought this one. It's just more alternative rock. I mean, we started off
class.
quite yeah, that's like very modest, that is. We started off quite punk rock, but now we've got such like such varying music. I don't know, it's just alternative. We've got heavy stuff and like more jumpy, dancey kind of stuff, sing along kind of stuff. Like, we've got quite a repertoire in our set.
I mean, like, you take a song like Domino. I mean, it starts off like jangly guitars, like perhaps Block Party or the Smiths or something. But then it gets like the chorus and it's more, Muse. Then by the time you got to the end, you got like a half-time, almost like breakdown riff, and you could even relate at like Rage Against the Machine. So, you know what I mean? It's like
So you've got something for everyone, basically.
well, I'd like to think that, you know what I mean?
Now, what do you think gives a local band such as yours the edge?
Dunno, do we have the edge?
I think you do.
Well, it's a compliment right there, you know what I mean? I think honesty is probably a big part about it, because I mean, if you're going to come out and try and just sort of be something that's too sort of, I don't know, maybe contrived, I think, because I think we've played with quite a few bands which have been sort of quite contrived, like sort of just go out there and specifically try and do like one thing, and the I don't know, the sort of really restrict themselves, and they seem to restrict themselves yet seem to do everything within their power to become like as big as U2 or something. And I think that to me is just wrong, because you should just go out there, and as long as you enjoy it and you're doing something which you believe in, I think that's what gives you the edge at the end of the day.
What do you think then, or who do you think is your favourite other favourite local band to play with?
We're friends with Joey Campbell, and he's been in a couple of bands, and I think he's probably the closest thing I'd say to somebody who really just stays true to his heart in the music that he enjoys. And he's in a band. He was in a band called Anyone a couple of years back, and then he joined Static Line Parachutes, but then he left them, and he's doing a band now called Red Letters, and they're really good. We played a gig with them at LYH a couple of weeks back, and they're absolutely phenomenal live.
Fantastic. Now, you're a self-managed band.
Oh, yes.
What would you say is the upside of that?
The upside?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just do what we want to do. We play gigs we want to play. We decide what we want to do. Like, for instance, like we've decided we're going to record in January. You wouldn't be able to do that if you had a manager, because he would go, no, you need to be doing these gigs. So it's kind of nice in some ways, because we're just more laid back and we can do what we want to do.
The thing is, we haven't actually had any experience of having a manager or anything like that, so we can't really talk from personal experience, but what we do now is working, so we shouldn't sort of seek a manager.
So do you all like delegate the jobs, or is there one that looks after everything?
What? Yeah, I try not to be too controlling. I try not to be like the sort of, dictator of the band, but I think it does tend to come across that way, doesn't it? Yeah.
Well, he does all the songwriting, the lyric writing. He gets all the gigs. Oh yeah, we definitely do have input, but 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 it's sort of set like that, and it would be really hard to change it, and
Yeah.
and until like, because I can only play the drums, which you can't exactly write songs on.
Yeah.
So until I learn the piano or something like that, then I physically can't input in some ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what has been the highlight of 2011 for the Warning?
Ooh. We played played at the Clooney in July, and that was pretty good, wasn't it? Oh, I think Sam's got something on the brain here. Do you
I
wanna?
don't know. I'm still thinking. Actually, we've played quite a few big gigs that we've.
Well, this year
been
we've
really
done
happy about.
we've done the Sage in January, we played the Academy in June, we played the Clooney in July, and we did Riverside this month, and we've had the chance to record at 2 brilliant studios. You know what I mean?
Yeah. well,
And we've been played on Newcastle radio like countless numbers of time.
yeah,
Thank you, Nick
BBC
Roberts.
Newcastle. We love BBC Newcastle.
Yeah, he's played Domino, he's played Conscience of Cowardice. I think he likes we're heavier stuff than we're more sort of poppy stuff, but you know.
Yeah, so do I, to be honest.
Yeah.
Now, you're a local band, obviously, but which venue in this area do you think is more helpful towards new bands?
3 tons in Gateshead. No. Yeah, although that is like our sort of local drinking hole.
Yeah.
So we've played there probably, I think it's Virgin on 3 digits, isn't it? Yeah, something God knows. But they're really good. And I'm starting to think the Academy is quite good as well, because I get emails through now and that, like, sort of ask for bands to put themselves forward for artists which need a support band, which is quite good, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's more down to actual sort of promoters, although there isn't many people in the area who had class as actual promoters, because a lot of people organise the gigs and that's all they do. They expect the bands to sell blah de blah amount of tickets for the show that's coming up, and they do nothing like by themselves to actually promote the gig in any way. They're not going out there and saying, look, we've got these 5 brilliant local bands playing, get yourself down, bring some friends, and we'll give you some discount on the tickets or something like that. I don't know.
Brilliant. Now, have there been any goals you set up to help the progress of your band?
Any goals we've set up?
Yeah, so different stages of what you need to accomplish.
We don't really, do we?
No, we're generally quite laid back about like what we achieve, and it sort of comes to us. The songwriting will come, and then it sort of forms its own path. Like after a period of songwriting, we might sort of like think, right, let's get this down on a CD and stuff. So we've never sectioned our time like throughout the year or whatever like that. So it seems to have worked.
I actually think the most brilliant thing about our band at the minute is because we're all still so young, we don't really feel pressured into the fact that we need a record label to come go, we want to sign you or anything, because to be honest, Sam's at college, I'm at uni, Will's doing Will things, and we're all really in education at the minute, and we're just enjoying sort of that experience along with what we're doing in the band as well. I think if it became too geared around the band at the minute, it would sort of spoil it. Like if everything came too quickly, because I mean we've been together for like 4 years now, and we've sort of progressed, and people still come to the gigs. So I mean that's all I can ask for at the minute. People dig the music, and I think that's a compliment in itself. I mean people come up after the show and say, "God, that was absolutely class. You got so much energy live and stuff." And
fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, from your own experience, what you mentioned briefly before, but what other problems do local bands face in the northeast music scene?
Innovative writing. I'd say sort of getting the riffs down and sort of really working on how the audience respond to a piece of music or whatever. I mean, they either sort of go in with a really generic chord sequence and like just jump about on stage and expect that to be it, and they look for the gigs and the support. But I mean, we make a point of getting the music right first, and then the rest of it comes naturally.
Anything to add?
No, that summed it up
I think
perfectly.
what one of the problems is, like I said before, these promoters who say you've got to sell 50 tickets for a gig or something, and some of the bands literally can't do it, and I think some bands can't get the opportunities nowadays because they haven't got the fan base yet, and getting the gig is sometimes an achievement in itself for them. And I think yeah, just sharks like that. I mean, there's loads of them around, and it's just a shame, really.
It's a tragedy sometimes.
It actually is. It's probably the most tragic thing that
Like
happens for bands.
especially a very new band, sometimes they can be taken advantage of.
Yeah.
With
And
really
that's their
good
soul
bands. So
destroyed before they've even started. You know what I mean?
Now, so you're about to take the stage and perform. What's going through your head?
That silence summed it up.
We don't really think about it much just before we go on stage. We just do what we normally do. Like before some Battle of the Bands, we've been known to have little rave sessions, like backstage, where a lot of people have walked in on us and just stared at what we were doing. But we just go on and just get into it as fast as we can and just try and enjoy ourselves.
Because we've been doing it for so long now that we don't get nervous about gigs unless it's a really big deal, which those kind of things don't come along as often anymore. And because we're used to it, we don't really think about, oh, how is the gig going to go, which some like early bands tend to worry about, and we tend to worry about slightly more trivial things like or how many CDs we're going to sell, or and getting to the gig, because we're sort of venturing quite far out these days. So it's stuff like that rather than the actual gig itself, because what we do on stage is pretty much down there.
Yeah, we don't get nervous at all.